they might get bored about like what team trials 2003. Like who cares,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, true. And with that, people, fight commentary breakdowns here with DY Sal, man, a legend in the Kung Fu community, legend in Wushu, and also this Bokator. You're stuntman too. You act, right? You do it all.
Yes, I started as a stuntman. Now I'm more of an actor. At 46, I try to step away from stunting for other people. However, I'll still do choreography and action direct and stuff.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning. You're Cambodian. Was martial arts big in your life growing up?
Yes. Or fighting was big growing up because I grew up in the projects in Long Beach. Yeah. And the projects you put there as a refugee with other refugee families, and the projects ain't friendly. You know what I'm saying? There's black, whites, Mexicans, and everybody's not in a good place.
Oh.
So there's race wars at school.
Wow.
And I had to be in an Asian gang when I was 9. But it's just a school gang. We're not doing anything bad. Actually, the Asian gang would defend the nerds from the other gangs, no matter what race they were. Yeah. And we still kept our grades up, because we have to answer to our parents.
Dude, shout out for that, man.
So I never like was doing anything terrible. It was just constantly fighting on the playground.
Wow.
Making me realize, like, oh, you got to be strong to protect your friends. Like, if you're not strong, you can't actually even do good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you can't even protect yourself. And that's what I loved about you covering like Shu Xiaodong back in the day. That's how I really discovered you. I was like, it hurts, but reality is reality. We can't live in a fantasy that certain things work when it doesn't. Now, I do Kung Fu. I love Kung Fu. I love all martial arts. But, I'm never under an illusion what works and what doesn't, because that's where I started, like, what really works.
It's funny. I spent more than 10 years in LA, right? And I went to Long Beach a few times, but Long Beach never felt to me like it was the project. So you grew up in a different time in Long Beach than what I saw. Wow.
Yeah. The 80s. Yeah. I'm very proud of that community because now I can go to a Cambodian New Year event and not only is there no fighting and gangs, everyone is polite and soft. The new generation is kind of soft, right? We don't, and so I was the only one that's kind of thuggish there, and I was proud of that. Our people moved forward. We don't have gangs to recruit the young people that are lost because there's no one lost, So I'm really proud.
Wow, that's amazing. So, was your first martial art Wushu, or did you do other things before that?
I did other things before that, but not technically like official. Like to start it off, my dad knew some stuff, but it was just he was like, "Here's a punch and here's a kick," and that's all you need. And he's like, other people can know all this martial arts, but he could beat them up because he knows how to punch and kick, and he's a soccer player. So, he's like, that lower leg kick, that can take out most people. But if you're a soccer player, you have a lot of power, right?
Yeah.
But then we went to a school. I tell the story all the time. So we went to a karate school and we couldn't afford it. I came back home crying. And he worked 2 jobs, but he would go and try to look at what they're doing and he would copy it. He's good physically, imitating, and he would draw it. these 5 or 6 karate blocks. And the type of karate where you hook the hand. You make sure the kick doesn't go above. So you attack with the blocks. There's like 5 or 6 blocks. But he ended the lesson there, right? With these 5 or 6 blocks that I still practice today.
Wow.
But it really teaches you how to generate. Like all martial arts is kind of alike. The more you do it, the more you can do. The more I did this karate martial arts, the more easy Chinese martial arts is going to become, you know? Depends on how interested are you in what you're doing. But I practiced these 5 or 6 techniques for like 5 years. Wow. And I was thinking, this is all I got. If this is all I got, I'll take it, you know, because we're really poor. But that being really poor is kind of a blessing in that you see, you know, you're not entitled to anything. If you want something, it's just hard work and you can, or I didn't learn that lesson that if you want something, it's just hard work and you can get it. I didn't quite make that bridge to there yet. I was like, martial arts is something in this lifetime I'm just never gonna be able to have the way other kids grow up in a karate system. This is a long time ago. There's no YouTube. We don't really understand the extent of what karate can do or whatnot, right? And at 13, I watched the movie Iron Monkey, and I was like, what in the world is going on here? Like, what's going on? So at this point, I still had no official martial arts training, but not knowing, now I count that all in, and it's like, oh, that's the most important martial arts training. Because there were no jump kicks. There was nothing to be flashy about. And, you know, you have to find the whole beauty of what this block is. And then, you know, of course, when the basics he taught me, we hung a 2-liter bottle. It's heavy, right? And I'm just punching and kicking it. It taught me, don't hit the knob of the 2-liter bottle. And so like accuracy and control of where you place your hits is super important. So that coupled up with the karate and just constantly fighting at school and being in a gang. Wow. It made me really appreciate everything martial arts has to give. And now you've given me Donnie Yen in Iron Monkey. And I'm just like, there's so many techniques. And I was at my uncle's house. There was this new age of like Hong Kong films because they came out with, you know, Iron Monkey, Drunken Master 2, Tai Chi Master and stuff. And I like immersed myself into, you know, learning anything I could see on screen. Even though I knew this wouldn't work in real life, but I already know how to do that. Let's bring the art side, you know. Anyways.
That's amazing. Wow. So a lot of people know you now for Book a Tour, right? Did you discover Book a Tour after your wushu journey, or was it always something that was known in your community?
Way after. As you know, I didn't start wushu. So I'm talking about 13 when I'm watching Iron Monkey. I didn't start wushu till I was 21.
Oh.
I learned from all these movies. I still know the forms, you know, that they did in the movies and stuff. And then at 15, my uncle came from Cambodia, moved over here. And he knew karate. So he led a group of cousins and trained us karate. I think he just wanted to torture kids, but we loved it because there's something about men. I think Jordan Peterson says it like, we love carrying a rock that we can carry, right?
Yeah.
It makes us proud, and then being able to carry more than just our own weight. Anyways, at 17, I had some money and I joined a Wing Chun school in Long Beach. under, I don't know his Chinese name, but Richard Shim, which is the student of Ip Man, where I learned official, like, that's the first time it's, formal training in Wing Chun. Even though I knew these rolling punches, it might not beat these looping hooks. So I was like, let me find out. I know looping hooks all day, you know? So I did Wing Chun for a year, which is the opposite of Wushu. It's not flashy, you know? It's eye jabs and groin kicks, which, a lot of that stuff works. Not to mention, like, they do these steel step drills where you inch forward and you create angles. Dude, when I spar, Wing Chun steps can destroy just by angle. Yeah, anyways, where's I at? I finished Wing Chun. I have a group at the park where I still do now. I always have a group at the park where we exchange knowledge, whether definitely Taekwondo people there, karate people, Muay Thai people. But then I was like, the one thing missing was what I saw in the movies, right? Wushu Kung Fu. And then in college, I was like, it's time. If I want this, I need to search for it. I went to a few schools, still broke as hell in college, working security at the library.
Wow.
Yeah. And trying to afford books and, tuition and all that. So this was the third school I visited. It was Southern California Wushu Academy, ran by Chris Ho. And he knew how broke I was, but he was like, just clean the school and, help me with all these other things. And I was like, oh, please, I'll do it. And then, yeah, I didn't,
Wow.
I didn't pay tuition. I don't know if you remember, but his school made a lot of champions because we train 6 days a week. I think it's one of the only schools that train 6 days a week,
Wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
On top of that, if you're on the team, you have a key to the school. You don't need to tell him when you go train. He's like, go train off time. During time, there's structured training on top of that. And it took me, 2 years and 10 months. I made the US team where you met me at the, Baltimore.
Was that your first trial?
That's my first trial.
Wow. Good for you, man. That really shows Chris Ho trained you well, but also it shows your previous training, your entire approach to martial arts helped you a lot.
Yes. And that's where I say I'm so grateful. We don't know how the curses of today is the blessing of tomorrow. Like, I knew the end game by watching the masters. Like, when you see Jet Li perform, like, what is it he's bringing across, right? Because this is a performance art. Like, when he's doing, let's say, a hammer fist, the most basic thing, he's not thinking correct or hammer fist. He's thinking like, how do I make the audience feel like a god?
Yeah.
Not only does he feel like a god when he does it, but the audience can feel it because there's a vibration to it. And so I always brought that to, competing in Wushu. Like, there's a vibration that comes with what you're doing. And then I think it helped that I knew what it was to fight somebody. Like, when I punched and kicked, the vibration was, I'm telling this whole story of like, you competed in Taolu, like just walking, being like an empty vessel, and then how to fill it and how fast you could fill it with explosive energy, right? You see the Shaolin do this really well when they perform, like going from like a gardener, right? A gardener to a warrior, like in a split second. Like, it's such an explosion of energy. You know, you can't ignore it. Anyways,
Wow.
I
So
still
go ahead. Go ahead.
I still love that feeling now, even though my wushu is really hard on the body as you get older, right? I can actually do many other things, but wushu is the challenging thing, and I'm glad because I still love it. You know, drop stances, these things that are rough on your lower back. But I don't know if you follow my Instagram, but I'm still trying to keep it up.
Do you remember how you felt when you that first day of the tournament during team trials? Do you remember anything from that day? Because a lot of my classmates at the time were trying out, right? Did you talk to any of my classmates? For example, Lucas Geller. Do you remember Lucas Geller or anything like that? Do you remember Jason Louis or anything like that?
I remember all of them,
Wow.
especially Jason Louis. We because I was 23, and you know, I was born during a war, so there's a lot of trauma. As Asians, we're very repressed growing up. Like, don't be yourself. I was taught like not to talk. Don't voice what you think. You can get in trouble. And so martial arts as an outlet, I was ready for war. I was like blood boiling, like these are your enemies, you know. But at the same time I was cocky. And I was like, I knew how to fight the war. Not saying all this is good for your brain, but I walked in like I grew up in the hood, you know. It's like that Tupac energy where it's like everybody's your enemy, everyone's against you, the system's against you. Not the right mentality, because it's not reality. Right away, in any type of competition, the war begins right when you see them. Whether it's a smile and a handshake. But for me, I wanted to keep myself mysterious. And when I bowed to the judges, right after we bowed to the judges, I start warm-up jumping because I've had a 38-inch vertical, and I knew people would be intimidated. And my teacher taught me all these things too. Whether it's the walkout or whatnot, it's like, you know, this is our life. We're not doing it for fun. So it's like very serious. And I injured my knee week before the trials.
Oh.
And I worked, you know how man, Seafood Chris Ho's training is brutal. That last week we're doing, we run 4 full forms a day. I don't know if you know, the full forms is brutal. Running full forms, especially 4, your legs become jello. Your heart's like burning, you know what I mean? Like, people who just watch wushu don't understand the cardio behind being super explosive. Jump front kick, jump, you know, tornado split. When you hold the split 3 seconds, don't breathe. Let the judges know this ain't shit. Inside, you're just, everything's dying, right? Because you don't go from a full sprint into a horse and hold it. That's the ingredient for like filling your muscles up with blood, and you know, but all that is so important for life. Like, you know, just the suffer in silence. The audience doesn't have to know what's going on the inside. That's terrible for acting, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. Acting's all about really letting loose what you feel. And like, especially if you're trained to not, oh my God, the warm-up exercise you have to do in acting to get out of your head, bro.
Dude, but that's why every martial artist kind of struggles with acting, right?
Yep. They don't seem genuine on stage. Even fighters too, like Ronda Rousey's acting. Wow.
It's because we're supposed to hide what we're feeling. Like if we're scared of the opponent, everyone gets scared, right?
Yeah.
To lose, but we're supposed to hide it, and we hide it really well. But that's why these fighters are good at fighting.
Yeah.
But in acting, they're supposed to show it. Anyways, my dad said had to do some sorcery on my leg because, you know, in Cambodian we have these sorcery things.
Yeah, definitely.
White magic. And so that day he was like, no matter how hard you jump, your bones won't break. And I was like, that's all I needed to hear because my knee was falling apart.
Oh no.
I hyperextended. You know, there's a jump, front kick, jump, split, right?
Yeah.
The hard part is you give only 2 steps. Jump, front kick, that right lands. You get a left, right. If we had 4 steps, it's easier to catch the ground, right?
Yeah.
But if you're going land right, left, right, tornado, and you have, for me, I was always proud of kind of like how high I jumped. So, you know, during that training the week before, where you're doing all these whole forms, your leg is jello, right?
Yep. And when your body is jello, that's when you get hurt.
Exactly. And we're doing 4 whole forms every day until Friday, 5 days in a row. The soreness of that 5th day, and like I hyperextended my knee a week prior off of that, you know, jump front kick. And so I was extra focused and like my mental game better be on. That means, you know, I'm not there to shake hands and be friendly. We could do that after, and we did do that after, right? But beforehand, there's a lot of mental turmoil. I got to fight my own fear. And that includes like going into a place alone where I can cry and kind of surrender a little bit to the moment. You know, it's people who compete know. People could say like, you're not fighting anyone. What are you scared of? Well, you are fighting someone. It's yourself. The biggest enemy, right? Did that happen to you too? Just
It's funny because for other things in life, I know exactly what you feel, but for that tournament, I was very chill about it because I'll tell you the secret. And Matthew Lee knows this. Some of my Kung Fu friends know this now, but I had already thought about quitting. So I was like, this is going to be my last hurrah. I don't want to do this anymore. So I wasn't too competitive. So that's why for a long time, like unlike you, so the similarities we had was that I also got into a lot of fights as a kid, but the difference is I didn't take any official fighting. I took a little bit of karate, but like I didn't have that like taking a year Wing Chun thing. So like I wanted to learn how to fight. And so I didn't want to be dancing anymore, right? Which is what Wushu was. Yeah. And so when I had the opportunity and I realized like this was affecting my mental, I need to quit. I quit. Right. So like that tournament where we were both at, but we didn't know each other back then, that was like, okay, let's just do this. And then I'm ready to like be done with it. And I quit Wushu the next year. So I stuck with another year, but eventually I just couldn't do it anymore. So long story short, I didn't have any mentality. I was like, let's just have fun. And honestly, I was very, very impressed at the quality of competition. Like I enjoyed A lot of it. There were some cringe moments that I'm sure if you want to talk about, we could talk about, but obviously one of the things in the video I haven't shown you, Ed, but I'll show you the video, is there were some biases in the judging. And one guy who like was doing a broadsword form did the best broadsword form, and he got a random deduction. And I will never forget that he was robbed of like a perfect score.
What was his name?
I don't know if his name was Alex, but I'm gonna guess it might have been Alex.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you saying you're gonna show me that form, or?
I'll show you that form. Yeah, I'll show you that form. And I'll show you my video later that I made last week to kind of reflect on this. But I didn't even name him in that video because I was just like, I wanted more confirmation from people who were there before I sort of started naming names. But if it were Alex, if it's you, man, you were robbed of getting a perfect score. I say this on record.
Yeah, you are right. There was a lot of biased judging.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I encountered, let's say, politics in a tournament. I didn't take it well, as you saw. But it taught me a lot because I went to a world competition later called Kung Fu Zhixing, Kung Fu Star. Televised to the whole world, but really it started in China, like 200 million people. Wow. And there was still politics. And this time I took it with such grace. So I owe this team trials from Baltimore to teach me like politics is everywhere,
Yeah. It's an unfortunate thing, man. It makes so many of us who really care about the martial arts a little sad, but keep going, please keep going.
But the truth always comes out.
Yeah.
You just have to not put yourself in the equation and it will come out.
Yeah.
And I learned that time and time again. When we had gang fights, right? I was the second in command in the Asian gang. I fought the second in command in the black gang. And me, I was about 4'10". I was small. And the leader was even smaller than me. And the black dude was already like 5'9", 5'10", He was big. He was the biggest kid in the school, and we got in a fight. And he kept walking around telling everybody he kicked my ass. And I didn't know how to talk. At 9, I finally spoke English, That was part of the problem. I didn't know how to speak. And he was telling everybody he kicked my ass, and everyone reiterated it because they were afraid of him, right? It wasn't until we both graduated from that school and my sister came to the school, how everyone talked about how he got his ass kicked, and he kept telling people that he kicked my ass. And I was like, oh, the truth comes out. You won't know about it. You're gone. I'm just lucky my sister was at the school later. And that's the same as real life. And sometimes it'll take 100 years, when it comes to politics. And I mean, I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with like conspiracies and stuff, but whatever's going on now, if it involves economics and politics, like Cambodia and Thailand have a war right now.
Yeah.
Terrible. We probably don't see what's really going on until 10 years later. We don't know what's going on. So a wise person would say, this is what it looks like, but really, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love how you approach him. And I love how you approach it because as I was reflecting on the team trials and I made my video, shout out Matthew Lee again. Matthew Lee added all this stuff and he filled it in as to, the guy who Jerry, you think was robbed of a perfect score. He told me what the name was. So like all this truth started coming out. And then I managed to get in touch with you after all these years because, I didn't know you back then, but I remember. Are you okay with me talking a little about some of this stuff?
Please.
Do you remember this? Do you remember this?
Yes.
I remember you as this guy. I remember you as this guy. Do you want to talk about what happened there? Why'd you do that?
Well, at the beginning of the tournament, everyone was an enemy already, right? Because that's how I approach.
Yeah.
Like, before I would compete, I would sing the song by Donnie Yen in Fist of Fury. Because for him, when the Japanese came to China and became the masters of the Chinese people, right? No Chinese or dogs allowed, right? Holy shit. Just to let you know, I'm half Chinese. My mom is pure Chinese from Beijing. I just represent Cambodians because, that's a minority population that it gives me more purpose
Yeah.
to represent. But I never want to disrespect my Chinese side because I have my Chinese grandmas and uncles and they're still alive. Anyways, I would sing that Donnie Yen song, and I don't say hi to anybody, right? Because to me, this is life. Like, if I can't do this, I can't do anything in life, right? Like, so it was life or death. And I realized it started coming out. Oh, we're getting lower scores than the home team.
Oh.
And it's clear to us, like, I love all these guys that made the team because we went to Macau, Alman, to compete, and they became like family. So it hurts to actually say this about them, but it is the truth. Just like Xu Xiaodong exposed, we could be graceful about the truth, but the truth will come out eventually.
Yeah.
And his last name was Sexton. I forgot what his first name was.
Chris Sexton. Chris Sexton.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's such a great guy.
Yeah, I love that guy. He's awesome.
But he got a 9.4 above me, right? That's above all my people that trained hard. And we just deserve a fair score. Now, Jason Louis, he deserved his score. He's fucking amazing.
He was amazing that tournament, man. He was amazing during the trials. He overperformed, honestly. He overperformed, man.
Right. But let me tell you, how does the truth unravel? I was number 4 because one dude messed up. And my score happened to beat his. If he didn't mess up, I'm not going to Worlds, right? But at Worlds, who scores the highest? Me. I beat all of Canada and America. I had the highest score out of all, but yet I was number 4. So that's when the West Coast was finally like, you see the politics? Like, there was a chance he wouldn't even go prove this. But dude, the mobile, I don't know if I'm telling this story in a cohesive way, but all of West Coast to send me to team trials, because we were broke, me and my sister. They're like, we just need this amount of money to send them to Macau to compete. Holy shit, within like 12 hours, it was like overflowing. They're like, okay, we got to stop because there's too much money. Everyone was like, I need to help you go prove that the politics. So anyways, I'm very grateful and fortunate to have that position,
I appreciate you telling me all this. Again, I knew there were politics, right? But it actually puts a lot of things into perspective. Imagine the weight you had on your shoulders during that tournament. It was for yourself. You're fighting yourself. You're also representing the West Coast. And in your mind, you're seeing that, oh my God, there's biased judging. And like, you almost didn't make it. So like, now I can understand like all of that weighing on you. Like, that's why this happened.
Oh yeah. That happened. And then when I took the microphone from Anthony something, but he was the great official, the big official. And I was like, hey, I just want to say, because I held my tongue from being friendly the whole time. I just want to say, thank you for having us, the camaraderie between East Coast, West Coast. Now, it wasn't fair, but that's okay. But right when I got to it wasn't fair, I started crying because I was just going through so much, right? And this is when I already made the team. So people are like, this is not a loser. if I didn't make the team, I wouldn't go up there because like, oh, you're just a sore loser. But no, I won. I won, and I'm telling you, some of you didn't get a fair chance. That's what I wanted to say, right? But then, well, step back a few days. After my broadsword form, everyone was already looking at me, right? Because I performed that broadsword form like that's when I did that. The whole form was like fuck you, right? It said the vibration was fuck you, but fuck you. There's a certain warrior to fuck you because fuck you is I'm in pain, but you're never gonna see me hurt. You know, like there's two arrows that hit you, right? I forget who said this, Confucius or whatever. One arrow hits you with pain and the other one is suffering. Well, you're not gonna know because I mean I know during the fourth section I wanted to quit, but I was like, I know on my face right now, no one can tell. I'm not even breathing, guys. And that's when I stood there at the end. I didn't breathe, even though I was about to collapse. And then I said, fuck you, everyone. Fuck you, judges. I'm not saying that's what anyone should do. But people who do that, you can ensure runs into houses to save people. Like, yeah, like as long as you know where to outlet your energy, you know. So the next day, I knew I flipped off the judges, and the second day I was like, I do represent more than myself. And I was like, Dari's my sister. She was feeling the whole thing, but she was always my other side that was the yin energy. She made the B team, by the way.
Yeah.
I was like, Dari, I need to find out who these people are because in my mind, they're the devil. They're recipients of the politics. I went to sit right in the middle of your school. Did you go to Ome?
Yeah.
Yes, I went to sit right in the middle when Jason was there and everyone was having a good time, just like my school. And I was like, people are just like us. And I learned this lesson before when I got in a fight with the Mexican gang. And the principal would put us in the office alone. They knew we wouldn't fight. We would just talk. And to realize he was just like me. He suffered, you know? And so I was like, here we go again. They're just like me. But in my mind, they're evil, right? And then they started talking to me, and then we became friends. I became friends with all of them. And I was like just criticizing myself in my own mind, you know, like just trying to be better. So I competed in staff. On my third form, I competed in staff. Dude, all of Ome was cheering for me. All of West Coast and East Coast was cheering for me because I went to make friends with them. I was hoping I would find out how, you know, evil they were, but I didn't. They were just so cool and fun. And during this sweep sit, and staff held a weird thing in my mind. Like I love staff, you know, Shaolin Temple. The opening of staff Shaolin Temple where they're, oh my God, they slam the staff and they're leaning on the staff. Like this was, you know, or not just this, anytime I'm doing martial arts, it's the thing I thought I couldn't do in life. And here I am doing it. Like you could change your own reality. Like it represents a lot to me, right? I do this staff form with so much passion. I do this sweep sit And I know the exact positions, but when you're wearing silk, it's different, right? When you're wearing silk, it's slippery when you sit because that's what the silk is for or whatnot. And I put my hand down. I was like, oh, that is, once you put your hand down, that deduction is over. But when I finish this form, I walk off. And Jason Louis, especially, they know what I'm feeling. Like, I feel like a loser, right? They run and they hug me and they're just like, oh my God, you're amazing. And I was like, things are getting like ramped up with emotions, anger on one side and cheering on the other. And like, what stood between them was me that like kind of knew both sides, I don't know if you remember Brandon, what's his name? Brandon Sugiyama. When after my speech and they ran to take the microphone from me, he started yelling and the East Coast was yelling at the judges and stuff. I don't know if you remember all that.
I don't remember that part, the yelling at the judges part, but yeah, you're remembering something else that like, yeah, tell me more. What happened there?
Well, because I wasn't really good at talking, I think Brandon, he was a voice for the, the Jayo forums?
Yeah.
He runs those forums. Jayo.com at the forums. So he's good at talking. And he was like, yelling like, this is this. And I was like, oh my God. For one, I was proud of, that people can voice it and we're not going to hurt anybody. This is Chinese martial arts. Everyone is peaceful. But yeah, it wasn't fair. And I'm not complaining about that. If you guys flew to the West Coast, probably wouldn't be fair either, like that is life. And yeah,
that's a very mature thing to say, which is that is the reality. If we all competed in Canada, we're all trying to try out for Canada's team trial, they probably wouldn't be fair to the Americans, right? So like there unfortunately just is a little bit of favoritism, whether you want it or not. It could be purposeful. And even if it's not purposeful, sometimes it's unintentional because that's how humans are. We're unfortunately tribal. And that's why I give you, DY, so much credit for sitting with us. I think I actually remember. And I think the reason you don't remember me is I sat away from you. I was a little scared. I was like, is this guy coming over to fight us? I'm pretty sure I do remember. I was like, there's someone who we don't know sitting in our section because like you said, it was so tribal that OMA had its own section. USWA, which was the other really big school in the DC area, had its own section.
Yes.
And I had trained at both schools. So I was trying to avoid the USWA peoples because I was not chill with their head coach, who was not a nice person to me. So like, I knew about the tribalism. So I think I remember the second that you came to sat with us and I was like, I don't know this guy. All right, let me sit away. But I do remember, and I remember, I think you started becoming friends with some of the people that were competing with you. I do remember that. It's so funny,
awesome.
Like what like I forget, but then it's like as you talk about it, I remember. And that actually explains a lot. It explains your growth and also why you went later to kind of talk. Like a lot of this makes sense now.
Wow. You're really taking me back.
I was sitting behind you when you came to sit with us, and I'm pretty sure I moved one bleacher up because I was like, I don't know what this guy wants. Let me just stay in my own zone because after the first day, I saw some of like the cringe, right? So like, I was like, let me just do my forms and let me just get the F out of here. I don't even want to dance anywhere, right? So like,
but how amazing that you guys proved me wrong.
Yeah.
That everyone is so loving. It's like, it was really humbling.
Yeah.
That I had all these bad ideas about you guys and it wasn't true.
Yeah.
Don't
in
believe
a funny way, dude.
Huh?
In a funny way, what you kind of realized is probably what I realized as I'm reflecting on this many years later. It's like we're all just kids at the end of the day. And there's this system that's trying to turn everything too political, too serious. We're just people that grew up watching Jet Li. We're just people that grew up, you and I grew up fighting. And like, we just wanted certain things that the system failed us at. Let's just be honest about it. That's what it was. They were being political. They're like, oh my God, Olympics. Oh, all this BS. It's like, leave these kids alone. Let them learn the beauty of camaraderie and competition, not like, oh, F this school, F this person, F this, you know?
Yeah, I totally agree. But for me personally, I'm so thankful for that experience, because just like Xu Xiaodong, that is reality, right? And so what it teaches me is be careful of your own tribalism. Just like back then, don't believe my thoughts of them being evil. At any given point, even right now, as Cambodia and Thailand's going to war, or anywhere you go at the workplace, like, if your thoughts are attached to the identity you hold, don't believe it, because your identity is a prison you created for yourself that can really narrow what reality you see. Can you speak on that, or am I going too far?
I 100% agree with you. This is actually, let's make this the last point, because let's bring you back. Let's have like a series of talks, because I want to talk to you about Bokator. I want to talk about your journey after Wushu too. But what you said is so important, DY. And I have to emphasize this. Like, I've been slowly getting out of this too, because I tied my identity too much to fight commentary breakdowns. You know, I was this big YouTuber who reported and talked about martial arts. And then at the beginning of 2022, I started getting back into the tech world. And then the stuff I was working on in 2022 fell apart a little in 2023. And so I was having some mental issues. But what it made me realize is, no matter what, I can't just be the fight commentary breakdowns person. It's exactly what you realized that day during the competition. You can't attach yourself to just these artificial containers you give yourself. If you do that, it's going to lead to inevitable conflict that's avoidable, and you're not going to be happy on top of that. So part of the reason, DY, that I accidentally scheduled something the next hour is because I'm going to work on my video essay for my grad school applications.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm stepping out of just fight commentary breakdowns, being a YouTuber even. Like, I'm, you know, finding other things to attach meaning to. Because like you said, moving beyond just wushu, so much cringe in martial arts. Why? Because people attach all their life meaning to this one thing. I trained karate all my life. Oh no, karate's not always effective. Oh, that's a personal affront to me. It's like, hey, you're beyond just your karate identity. Just like you realize very quickly, oh, like I'm beyond just my West Coast wushu identity. Like, we're all in this. I made friends who were supposed to be my enemy. Like, so yeah, that's my little support of what you're saying.
I love that, and I love how you explained it. Wow. I can go anywhere, but I let you ask me where to go.
Yeah. So let us do this. I'll put this talk out. I'm so happy we finally got to hear your side of the 2003 trials. And then I will make an announcement on fight commentary breakdowns. I'll tell people to field some questions, because I did this without I let a few viewers know, but I didn't let people on my main channel know. So I'm going to tell people that I'm just interview you, but we're going to do a second part where we're going to field viewer questions. So let me do that. And so next talk we have, hopefully soon, we're going to have a lot of questions from viewers. So yeah, wow, I'm so glad we got to talk. Like, we got so much in common. Like the fact that we grew up fighting, both of us. It's like, even that just bonds us. I'm like, I know how you felt. I know how I felt. The difference is I usually fought white kids. It's like you fought the black kids and the Hispanic kids. Or I fought, when I was in China, I was unhappy. So I fought like Chinese kids. So that was me. Yeah, because
Is
I
that where
grew
you
up in
grew up?
America. So then when I
Oh.
went back to China, I was unhappy. So I wasn't always fighting to defend myself. I was a little bit of a bully. I took it out on some of my Chinese classmates. So I'm not proud of that. But people, do what they do and they learn from that. So now it's like, we can talk about this a little more next time too, but like having sometimes been the bully, not just the person being bullied, I kind of understand it from the other side too. So we can definitely
Oh.
talk about this from next talk. This would be I think you and I could probably have like 3 or 4 talks by the end of all this.
I'm down, brother. I'm down.
Yeah, this
Cool,
is
cool.
awesome.
They
So
can ask
everyone,
about the business and stunt work too. A lot of people are interested in, stunts, and it's not exactly easy to get into,
yeah.
Yeah.
I think we should do one talk on just the business and stunt and the acting part of your career. I think that talk could even like next time we can budget like 2 or 3 hours for that. I think there's so much we could learn from you.
Thank you. I hope I'm just giving, some value to your audience.
Yeah. Yeah, this was so great, man. Like I'll be honest, this is my last thing I'll say. When I found your stuff again, I thought about reaching out to you back then, but I don't think I had the mental maturity to kind of do the conversation that we did today. I would have led with, "Hey, DY, remember this? Can we talk about that?" And this would have been like 2020. You would have been like, "Jerry, who are you?"
I feel like I'm not really the same person anymore. I'm definitely, grown up, 2 kids. I'm responsible for more than just myself,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but it all had to happen to get here. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the mistakes.
Everything built you up to this, right? Like 2023 was not a good year for me mentally, but like it built me up to now. Like my channel's changed its vibe and I'm glad.
Yeah, dude. I mean, most people can't get the success you've gotten. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I loved your coverage of Xu Xiaodong. Hurt and loved it at the same time.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I mean, all of us kung fu people had the same thought. It's like, oh my God. So everyone, leave your questions. For those of you who see this talk, leave your questions, okay? DY will be back. I'm going to have so many talks with him. So leave your questions for those of the lucky ones who see this first talk. But like DY will be back. I have a feeling it's going to be like 4 talks. So second talk, I think we already decided. Second talk will be the stunt acting life of DY. And then maybe we'll do a third talk on Boca Tour or something like that. But second life will focus on his acting stunt career.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Definitely. So this was so cool.
I had a lot of fun, dude.